Good. So the session today will cover more specifically about server and storage. Like I said, if you want to know more about Simplivity and so on, well, at that moment, we have other recordings available for you. So let's take a look. Agenda, yeah, two pieces, of course. There is server and storage. I captured all the information that we can find on the typical websites where you have access to as an HPE partner, like Seismic, PS Now, Product Bulletin for the quick specs, all the promotions that exist. And I bundled this all together for you in this presentation. Now, first, maybe a little bit more general, what's happening everywhere across server and storage is indeed how digital IT and transformation is happening everywhere. Now, I think, yeah, with the pandemic, that is still there. Luckily, it is stabilizing and going down so that we are allowed to get out again. Well, I hope one of the upcoming months, I hope that we can organize back again as well physical update sessions and not these virtual webinars anymore. But also it's due to that pandemic that we had a lot of new ways of how IT is consumed. Think about people that needs to work at home. The remote workers, we have seen a lot of interest in, for instance, VDI solutions. How to protect our data, since people are generating data not only in the office anymore, but a little bit everywhere. Also with the cloud, how we consume IT. People want to pay for what they're using and not for the upcoming 5 years that they expect that they need. So this is where HPE also says that know that we are not only that technology, that product company, but also all the needs and the services behind where we can help. There was already HPFS, which is financial services, and there is Point Next, which is the support team, that the experts that will help you with installing, configuring, maintaining, supporting all those small, medium, and large environments. But you will see, and this will be a dedicated session that will be scheduled probably in November or December timeframe. But you will see more and more from HPE, which is that Green Lake. Okay, now Green Lake was announced 3 years ago. Meanwhile, Green Lake evolved a lot. So the Green Lake from 3 and 2 years ago is not anymore the Green Lake of today. Let that be clear. And also the Green Lake next year will be different. Okay. Why? And so if you want to know more, definitely keep on following that one. But you should see Green Lake today as the HPE cloud and HPE as a service. Okay, people want to consume IT as a service. Well, Green Lake is the answer. Now you can see Green Lake, and at least this is how I see it evolving, is that Green Lake for HPE is the Azure for Microsoft. Yeah, and we have done the Amazon Web Services, AWS, for Amazon, the company. And so Green Lake will go much further than just, yeah, pay as a service. It's really how you're going to consume an HPE solution. Why is that? Because the customers are transforming, and this is why HPE is transforming as well. This is, I mentioned this already in the past sessions as well. We have even a dedicated session on HPE support. It's also the support experience that is changing, and also their HPE needs to follow. So in the past, we had multiple support packs. Today, it is changed in just tech care, replacing the foundation and the proactive care. So in the last months, you will have seen it started in around April, May timeframe. Now it's on every product. So today, from server over storage, HCI, hyper-converged solutions, you will see that we cannot offer foundation proactive care anymore. So it's now tech care. If you want to know all the details about tech care, well, like I said, we have other presentations, other webinars available. And of course, the entire HPE team, Wim, Christophe, Steven, Danny, Peter, me, we will help you to explain this. What is the benefit? What is the outcome? But the whole idea is that the support experience is changing. You will not get less support, you will get more support, because also we have more tools that are now available when you have that tech care contract. One of them, for instance, is My Room, which is a portal that we were using already, but now we have that visual guidance or virtual guidance in there as well. In short, how you can see it is, you know, FaceTime. Yeah, it's like you can have FaceTime now with the tool from HPE, of course, but the support that you will get is that you have now a better, easier contact with the support team, and that you can see even visually, hey, you see that green or red light over there? Well, this is the problem. So to get a better support experience. So this is tech care. And if you want to know more about that, well, please let us know. But that's the whole idea about those experts, that you have easier access to the support team to get a faster response. And the whole idea as well is that it goes further than just fix my hardware. Know that you get an answer for the solution. If we take a look at the server market today as well, you have a server with CPU and memory and storage in there as well. But the whole idea is you get to run an application on there. And in the past, long time ago, we had a server with an application and a server with an application. But now we have already many years, of course, virtualization. We're going to put a hypervisor on there, VMware, Hyper-V. But now it goes further, because what VMware and Hyper-V is doing for an operating system, well, now we see the same software-defined mechanisms also for applications. All the new style of applications are built on cloud-native systems, like, for instance, containers. Maybe it rings a bell, Docker, Kubernetes, and all these kind of things with these new style of applications which are running in the cloud. But we see that more and more, the applications that can run in the cloud, they are in the cloud, but we see a lot of applications that are not possible to run in the cloud. So that's why we see that shift back again from the public cloud, where customers say, I want that cloud experience, of course. Well, the answer is GreenLake, but we want to have it on premises. One of the marketing sentences from GreenLake is, the cloud that comes to you, we're going to deliver you that cloud experience, but the cloud is not more or less than just an experience of how you use IT. Well, we're going to do it in your own data center, where you have the best performance, because the data and the applications are close to you, and at least you have full control about it because it's in your data center, right? But that's the whole thing, where HPE says we're not going to position products anymore. You will see more and more use cases with workloads. Okay, and I have a few slides where you will see all those workloads, virtualization, but also containers, databases, in memory, analytics, and so on. Well, that's the whole idea. We're seeing that shift to those workloads. We have that web scale architecture with virtual machines, with containers, and everything in between. And never forget management of the solution, because the only thing that it becomes is it becomes more complex. I have data everywhere, I have applications everywhere, and now with the pandemic I have also users everywhere, but at least not in my offices, but they are a little bit everywhere. So we need to think about the management. I'm going to tell you what's the vision about the management at HPE. You will see. Yeah. And then finally, security. Also security, since the data is everywhere and the users are everywhere. Never forget security, by the way. Under security, also data protection. So my backups and my restores and so on. So data protection sits as well in that security. Also there you will see a lot of evolution In the security market, we have Project Aurora, which moves further than, and this is something I explained already 3 years ago, and I keep on repeating why a ProLiant Gen 10 server is the most secure server in the world, thanks to Silicon Root of Trust. Well, I see, my opinion, I see not enough when you go to your customer that you say, you got to be concerned about security. Everybody is hearing about those ransomwares and so on. Well, did you know that with Silicon Root of Trust, we are protecting you at least on the hardware level? Because the highest rise of attacks is not on the client side anymore, but is on the hardware side, on the firmware level. And this is a great story with already 3 years now with Gen 10 servers. And now we're going to talk in a minute about Gen 10 Plus and further. And probably one day there will be Gen 11. HPE has my opinion, very good vision there. It's called Project Aurora with Silicon Root of Trust that is extending higher in the software stack with partnerships with Microsoft and VMware, for instance, and Pensando. And also data protection. Just a few weeks ago, there was that acquisition from a company called Zerto. So Zerto, which is a data protection company, which was acquired by HPE as well. So that also fits in that security section. So also there, HPE keeps on growing and evolving. So talking about those workloads, I'm not going to highlight all of them. You can read for yourself, but you will see that it goes further than the VMware, the virtualization. Like I said, I see a huge increase in the containers, in the application development. At least from my side, I have really great stories about it. If you're interested, please let me know. We're talking about data management, VDI, like I said, with the pandemic, virtual desktops, remote desktop services are very important. And of course, the data analytics, the AI, the machine learning. This is also something where we have good stories due to that COVID pandemic, thanks to all those supercomputers out there, that we had much faster cures compared to the diseases of 20, 30, and 40 years ago. Yeah. So we see everywhere that transformation. And this is where HPE says, okay, we need to follow the market, and also other companies, like we're starting with servers, where you will see indeed also those server component vendors like Intel and AMD. They also see more requirements. It's got to go faster, more bandwidth, more users, more applications. So this is where you will see now, let's dive a little bit deeper in the offering of AMD with their new Milan, Rome CPUs, and also with the latest Intel Ice Lake CPUs and the upcoming CPUs that are coming. But again, more and better and faster, right? And this is where we're going to take a look at what's the offering today with HPE in the compute market. I told you something as well about the management. Well, you will see that we already have ILO, which is an all systems management. Then to manage multiple systems on site, we have a tool called, for instance, a OneView. There's also ILO Amplifier Pack. There are also some other tools as well. And then as well, across those sites, in the cloud, we already had inside remote support. Now we have info site, initially for storage, now also for servers. Well, you will see, and I will mention that during the presentation, you will see this is still product focused, where also HPE there says, nope, it's not product focused management. It's about the entire solution. And so you will see, I will talk about the future. It's not a future. It is available today. The first customers are migrating to that new platform, where you will see that we have one platform where you're going to do just a task that you need to do. So it's all about the customer experience with the task that you need to do. I need to deploy a new server. Okay, that's provisioning. I need to deploy 50 servers. Well, then we're going to use automation. I need to update my servers. Today, we need one or multiple tools. Forget it. Now you're going to do it just with one tool. You will see which one it is. Also, the security, the monitoring, the scaling, the supportability. You will see that all this will be transitioning. Of course, in the backend for the techies, in the backend, there will be always ILO in the servers. We still have InfoSight for the AI, but again, the experience will change. You will see how it will look like. I told you about that scalability. Well, today we have that server with a hypervisor or then that container runtime platform on there. Where you will see now as well is that this will transition as well. We're going to focus on those workloads. And then underneath what is happening there are a lot of things that will be happening. You will see with the Pensando cards in your servers as well. So all these functions that you would do per server will be now separated. So we're going to put an additional abstraction layer in there. So for you as a user and someone to configure and maintain that environment, that we're going to separate, that we're going to isolate really the workloads from the hardware underneath it, like VMware was already a little bit doing, but now we're going to extend that more. Believe me, more to come. There's a lot of things happening there. This goes outside HPE, but to prove that HPE is one of the leaders and that the products are ready. Yeah. Now, if we dive a little bit deeper, more, because that's the vision, that is where HPE is going to. And like I said, I am following already HPE. It started with Digital and Compaq and HPE and now HPE. Well, I am following them already for 25 years. And I see clearly indeed where the market is going. And honestly, my opinion, I must admit, I like it of what is coming. Now, of course, more practically, you're here as well to have an update about the facts and the figures of what is available today. So I have added this more technical information in here when we're going to take a look at the portfolio today. So no generation 11 yet. Okay, so we're still waiting then for the next generation Intel and AMD, but then the TikTok mechanism, the groundbreaking new CPU, I expect it will be somewhere next year. I keep on getting those questions already. When will there be Gen 11? Well, we have to wait for Intel and AMD, but I expect somewhere next year, definitely not this year anymore. So today we're talking about generation 10, but now you will see in the slides that we have a generation 10 plus with the, in between upgrade of Intel CPUs. The important shift there is you will see that we had PCI generation 3 and then now we have PCI generation 4, which is more bandwidth. We need more bandwidth for more memory, faster access to that CPU. So that's the new PCI generation. And this is where AMD was first with Milan and the Rome CPUs. And now we finally also have, it was released before the summer timeframe, we have those Gen 10 plus servers. And with AMD, you will see that we already have today the V2 servers. So that's the latest generation. So I have all the details in the presentation. You will get that copy of the current models. I must say the most popular models, because yes, we still have the ML350 and the ML110, which are the tower servers. I'm just showing you the latest and the greatest. These are the most sold, the most popular servers. And it's because of that you will see that those latest versions with the latest CPUs from AMD with those V2s is then indeed that 325 and the 385. And then also on the DL360 and the DL380 are the first one in the Gen 10 Plus, supporting as well that higher performance and more bandwidth, more NVMe bandwidth lanes availability. Okay. So again, you will see more and more that we're leading with workloads, so that we're not just saying anymore, hey, this and that server, so many CPUs, so many cores, so many memory. because then it's up to you to make that link with, yeah, which application that I want to run. Well, you will see now that HPE will help you so that they're telling you for which workload, which server is ideal. Now, this is just lead with. These are the ideal solutions for that. Of course, it's perfectly possible to run transcoding and visualization on Synergy as well. And it's perfectly possible to run containers as well on, let's say, 360, 380, 325, also VDI. You can do it on a 360 and a 380, but it will run better on 325 and 365. Why? Because it has more bandwidth, more memory, and AMD has more cores. If we're going to compare Intel with AMD CPUs, AMD can go already up to 64 cores today, where Intel is today far below. Okay, so you will see that we have configuration guides. If you go on Seismic, there are plenty of configuration guides available for you to help which solution, which product to choose in which specific environment. Well, we have configuration guides for containers, VDI, small and medium business, virtualization, cloud, and so on. Yeah. If you cannot find them, hey, call us, send us an email. We're going to help you with that, just in Seismic configuration guide, and that complete selection tree is available. If we take a look at possibilities, the positioning, which server where, well, we're going to take a look first at the CPU resources and the performance, at the vertical line, and then at the horizontal axis. We're talking about expandability. Well, you will see that indeed in the DL380s, and definitely in the DL580s, which are 2 and 4U chassis, that we have more scalability, expandability compared to a DL20 and a micro server. Also in the micro server and those smaller servers, we are limited. It's on purpose. We cannot install a 64-core CPU in there. We would have challenges with cooling and so on. So it's the positioning, and I think that's quite logical, where you will see how to position those servers depending the needs of your customers. Okay, so I put it in here as well because it gives you a great idea of how far or how fast or how expandable each of these servers are. Now, of course, we're gonna put that little a story about the workloads on there, so you will see as well now with those workloads which systems are very popular, and you will see that indeed VDI, containers, and so on has more needs towards the CPU resources, where the data management and the transcoding and the visualization is more to the right, because they need more expandability on the storage side, on the bandwidth side, maybe even if you want to put GPUs, NVIDIA accelerators on there. Well, at that moment, again, you need that bandwidth, you need that expandability in that server, right? So this is where you're going to see throughout all the presentations that will be coming. You see the workloads and then the solutions that have the perfect fit in there. Quick overview. We have the 1U DL325 version 2 in there. So it's a 1U chassis with a single processor. And then the DL345, that's a new model that was released just before the summer timeframe with the new Milan and Rome CPUs. So a DL345 is like a DL325, but in a 2U chassis. So it's the same motherboard, it's a single processor, but watch out, one processor with 64 cores, and you can put an insane amount of memory in there, but it remains a 1P processor. Interesting for those applications which are licensed on the physical sockets, right? So 1P up to 64 cores, a lot of memory, but then 1U and 2U. Why? Because in 2U, hey, we have more physical space for more storage and more PCI cards in there. So ideal for databases. The 325, very popular for VDI as well, because then you need less storage. It's more about the CPU calculations and so on. And then we have the same in the 365 and the 385. So also the motherboard of the 365 and the 385 are the same, but it's 2 physical CPUs at that moment, and then a 1 new model with just average storage capacity, and then the 385, a 2U chassis with a lot of capacity in there as well, NVMe support, which is ideal for the big data analytics and so on. Okay, if you want to have more quick specs, you can find them online. There's also product bulletin that is available as an offline tool on your PC, where you can find all this information. Also, my colleagues Christophe, Steven, Wim, and so on, they are happy to help you to find all the latest details in there. So if we're going to take a look, what's the difference between that Gen 10 Plus, which was that new AMD CPU offering, and then Gen 10 Plus V2. So you should know that today we have in the 325 and the 385, we have now that V2 model already. Yes, I admit I'm not the biggest fan either of this naming convention, but like I said, this was not enough to go to Gen 11 already, because for that we need as well Intel following with those new CPUs. So today, AMD Gen 10 Plus V2. What's the difference? Well, we have now those Milan CPUs. Okay, so first one was that Rome CPU based on EPYC. So AMD has the EPYC CPUs with Intel is the scalable platform CPU today. Well, we had Rome. Well, now we're talking about Milan. And why is that with Milan? Well, we have PCI 4 already. We go up to 64 cores, but now you will see that AMD has added more features in that Milan CPU. Okay, so you will see that for the 325 and the 385 Gen 10 Plus, that this will go away. So AMD stops with producing those Rome CPUs, and that we are transitioning to that V2 environment. For the techies, there you go. Here's a complete overview of all the technical specs of that of all the servers that are available today. Feel free, this is quick specs material, of course, and as you can see here, it's with the, like I mentioned, let it be clear, it's initially the 325 and the 385. Those are the two most sold servers today. This is where you will see that V2. For the 345, 365, it's a matter of time, but today not yet. But you can see in bold. So what is new? So it's that new type of Milan CPUs with also faster memory, and then also the NVMe support and so on. By the way, if there are questions, I have some free time at the end of this session as well. There is a Q&A available, so I will provide some time at the end if you have any questions, of course, during this session. Now, we have AMD, of course. Also, Intel is catching up with their newer generation, the R, the refresh CPUs that are available today in the scalable platform, CPU platform. So also here, we have a 360, we have a 380. Here, it's always dual socket since it's the 300 series. Also in Synergy, the SY480, the most popular model in Synergy, bladed form factor. There's a newer model with the new refresh CPUs. And there's also one new model that was released just before the summer timeframe, which is a DL110. So not an ML110, which existed already in Tower Server. DL100 series. Now, let it be clear, sometimes we get questions about this. The DL110 is specifically positioned to the telco environment. So it's a 1U chassis. There's a single CPU in there, but know that it's positioned towards the telco environment. So the 5G deployments, the open RAN networks, where those servers are very popular with 5G. They need more compute power closer to the antennas. Well, this is an ideal server for that one. In Intel, for me today, most popular servers remain the 360 and definitely the 380. And then behind it, we have the ML350 and the ML110 for the smaller environments, the companies that doesn't have racks, for instance. But 380 is still the leading server there. Third generation scalable processor already. So here, what do we see? Faster compared to the previous Cascade Lake. Now we have faster performance, more bandwidth, and like I said, PCIe Gen 4 finally as well. So if we're going to take a comparison between the traditional Gen 10 servers and then the Gen 10 Plus, well, you will see now that we have indeed more performance, more bandwidth. Now there's a result. One important thing that you should be aware of is that the Gen 10 Plus servers have other carriers. Okay, so watch out with that. Until the generation 10 and before it was called a smart drive carrier, know that now HPE, that was a proprietary, it was an HPE drive carrier. Now we see as well in the market that we are standardizing across the vendors just one basic carrier. Know that from Gen 10 Plus on, we have those basic carriers. Okay, so physically, no, it's not possible to install a drive from Gen 10 in Gen 10 Plus and vice versa. Be aware of that, my colleagues. They will help you, they will assist you. You will see that they have other part numbers, those drives in those new servers. Also here, I added a comparison for you between the DL360, Gen 10, and then the Gen 10 Plus, and then also the DL380. So you will see all the bold text. The bold text is what is new compared to the previous generation Gen 10 server. And like I said, the most important is here at the top that you see that we have PCIe generation 4. So we have more lanes, we have more bandwidth. And also, like I said, then yeah, the memory is also faster. So the speeds of the memory DIMMs is faster. By the way, Gen 4 was 4 channels. Then in Gen 10 we had 6 channels. Well, now we have 8 channels per socket for your memory. So we have more capacity, more memory, but also faster memory in there. Okay, so this is where you will see that the Gen 10 Plus is technically not replacing Gen 10, it's an addition on. So we still keep on selling a lot of Gen 10 servers, which is fast, very fast. But then for those companies who are looking indeed for the data analytics, they need the fastest performance, the Ferraris out there. Well, at that moment, they are choosing indeed for that Gen 10 Plus. For those who are really looking for applications requiring, for instance, that highest capacity, we can install now 6 terabyte in one server instead of 3 before. And also for applications that need, for instance, NVMe, which is storage, but on the PCIe generation 4 bus as well. And like I mentioned also on the previous slides, there's also in Synergy, know that for those customers with Synergy, we also have a Gen 10 Plus model available today. So now also in Synergy, we have PCIe Gen 4 with larger memory counts and faster bandwidth, faster performance as well. Okay. Now that's today the portfolio overview. If you want to have more information, I have a slide deck with a few hundred slides with all the quick specs, with all the pictures at the front, at the back, at the top, how it looks like, the motherboard and so on. So for the techies, feel free to contact me and I will be glad to share that information with you. Now there's the portfolio, the hardware. Like I said, very important to know as well is the experience, how to manage the environment, how to maintain, deploy, maintain, and support the environment. And like I said, also there's a lot of things happening. And I'm following HPE already a long time. This is just the start. Yeah. I want you to be aware that you are ready, because you will see this in reality. You will see this in a year from now. It is available. A friend of mine in the US, he got elected as a tester. He got 2 new servers, and he's testing now that new cloud managed compute management experience. Yeah, because this is what was announced. Yeah, just before the summer at HPE Discover. And now it's getting to be available. Okay. For you here, the Belgian market, believe me, it will be in 1 year, but I want you to be ready for the future. This is why we are organizing these update sessions, that you are ready when the need is there. And by the way, HPE is ready. What am I talking about? Well, for those who know networking, yeah, because this is not a new platform. This is a very powerful message. The platform that I'm gonna explain here now is not new. It exists already a long time. For those who know networking, Aruba switches, well, we have on-premises, on-site management on the switch. And then for the bigger environments, Airwave, yeah, which is a virtual machine, and you can manage all your 10, 100,000 switches out there, but it's an on-premises solution. But already we have a few years already Aruba Central, which is a cloud-based management portal. So you connect to Aruba Central on the internet, and then you can manage all your wired and wireless switches. Yeah, Aruba Central. Now, we're going to talk about that in the next part of this presentation with storage. But with storage with Aletra, it is a nimble array and a Primera array, but there's now also cloud management. Well, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Yeah. But what was announced as well is the same thing for compute. So HPE extends that Aruba Central portal. It's not with Aruba Central, but it's the infrastructure, the portal, the cloud experience behind that is used now for Aletra, being the first 2 storage products for cloud-based storage management. Well, now there's also a thing called Compute Cloud Console. Yeah, the Compute Ops Manager. What we're gonna do is yep, indeed, manage your servers from within the cloud. So it starts with the provisioning of a server, doing firmware updates of that server. At the end of the life of a server, a secure erase that server, and so on and so on. So HPE is putting all that management into a cloud portal. Why? Because we see more and more IT being dispersed a little bit everywhere. Yeah, we're not allowed to go, and we don't have the time anymore to go everywhere. So again, it's all about the experience. Of course, on-site management will remain available, right? But HPE is adding that on top of it. So there you go. So the whole idea here is that the edge is everywhere. We have IT a little bit everywhere. Really great story about the edge is the spaceborne computer. Also, just before the summer, HPE has sent 2 servers, a ProLiant and an Apollo server, to the International Space Station because they needed compute power. They don't have enough bandwidth to send all the data to Earth, then doing all the calculations and then send the result back again because they generate too much data. So now it's the 2nd generation already. HPE has sent 2 servers to the International Space Station, and they are doing their calculations themselves already. If you want to know more about that, just take a look at my social media. I have a lot of that information on there as well. Okay. So edge is everywhere. IT is a little bit everywhere. AI, InfoSight is the best story for artificial intelligence, how we support you to maintain, to give you recommendations about that experience, right? Well, also that cloud experience, I need to, independent of where we are, I need to be able to do my job and have a view on my infrastructure. And that's the whole idea why HPE says, well, we need to have that cloud native mentality, how we deploy, how we maintain, how we set up our environments. I get a question in the Q&A, by the way. When we're talking about that cloud experience, egress costs, are there egress costs considered in this project? Well, egress cost is when you're moving data up and down from that cloud. Well, here today, at least, because we have a few solutions like HPE Cloud Volumes and on, there I can say no, with HPE Cloud Volumes, there are no egress costs. Yeah, because it's our HPE cloud. Now, what I'm talking about here now is about the management. We're going to have cloud management from compute and storage and networking. At that moment, no, there are no egress costs whatsoever, because that portal that I'm talking about, that Aruba Central, and now it's called DSCC, you will see that later in the storage section of this presentation, Data Services Cloud Console, that's for storage. And now we have also CCC, the Compute Cloud Console. So it's just a web portal to maintain, to manage my infrastructure. So there are no egress costs whatsoever involved. Okay. So that's the whole idea about that complexity of managing that environment locally on the system, on premises, and then across the premises is where HPE says we need to do something about that complexity outside my core data center with all those edge sites today. Keeping into account that the tool is not product focused, so I don't see 10 ProLiant servers and I see 2 or 3 storage arrays. No, I got to see those workloads. And the whole idea is, thanks to InfoSight, thanks to the AI in there as well, and I have seen the first demos already, is that with storage, I'll tell that a little bit later, but with storage, the whole idea is, hey, I want to run virtualization. I need 2 terabytes of virtual machines. Well, I need to create a data store and present that to my servers. Well, the whole idea is that you don't have to even select which TripR or which Aletra or which MSA that you're gonna pick. The platform will say, I will choose the best location where I have the performance, where I have the capacity to place that workload. Now, like I said, technically it's available today. Practically, this is for the upcoming years, but that's the whole idea. That's the messaging from my side. We are moving towards those unified operations across the entire life cycle, at the edge, in the cloud, and of course in your core data center as well. And that is the platform that was announced, that is released, available today at HPE. So like I said, everything that is cloud, HPE Cloud, well, is positioned under that GreenLake portal. So under GreenLake portal, there are plenty of tools and platforms already today, but the whole thing is everything as a service. So it's a consumption subscription-based model that you will see. Don't ask for part numbers yet, because it's now being released in the US in a controlled way. So before it will be available, believe me, I will organize a new update session with all the SKUs and all the prices when it's there. I just want to give you that message so that you know what is coming. So that's the vision. Compute Operations Manager. It's a cloud-based service inside the GreenLake portal that will deliver that unified compute operations for you. Independent if you have a customer with 1, 10, 100,000 servers running in one data center, or at 50 little sites and so on. So you don't have to get in your car anymore, because now it's in the cloud portal that you can manage that complete environment. Okay, so these are the first screenshots that I got already. So you can see now, you can drill down in that map. By the way, in the Aruba Central, it exists as well for all your network switches and all your access points. Well, now you will get the same experience, but now for your ProLiant servers. Now, of course, you're going to ask me, I'm going to ask the question before you, because otherwise the question will come, hey, will this work with my customers' G7 or Generation 8 server? Nope. You will need at least the Generation 10 server with ILO. You will need to update your ILO to the latest firmware and so on. So this is, of course, from now with the hardware that is available today. But I don't expect that Generation 8 or G7 or G6 server out there will be supported. Okay, because of course this thing is of course talking with ILO, so you need a recent platform as well. We see great numbers about the simplicity of deploying a server, the efficiency and the uptime, eliminating business risk, because of course he's checking security as well on the system. So AI-driven insights in the compute cloud console. So the info site information will be used here as well. It won't be called info site, but it's info site that is delivering all that information will be added, will be visible in the console as well. And so there you go. This is the most important thing that you need to remember, besides the products that we have today, is that acceleration, that transformation on the management side at HPE. So don't worry, OneView is not going away, ILO is not going away. These are the foundations, but now they are extending this platform. Why? Just for your better experience across compute, storage, and networking. Okay? So there you go. That's the first part that I wanted to share with you of what's happening in the server, in the compute world, and the vision from HPE. We have facts. We have the latest servers with the fastest performance running all your workloads. So just tell me which application, how many users, and I will find the solution. Yeah, in all the ProLiant and Apollo and Synergy platforms, we will find a solution for your need, your workload. And the second thing is what we have on the management side is already great. We already have control, but there is that vision that everything will make your life even more easy. Okay. So that's the first thing. The second part of the presentation is what's happening in the storage world. Well, in the storage world, this is also the strategy where HPE says we see two needs there. We have the physical systems in my data centers, but we see also more and more software-defined intelligence, where HPE has a few own products, but also has a lot of powerful partnerships with companies like the Cohesities, the Cumulos, the Scalities of this world. Well, Zerto today is part of the HPE portfolio and so on. So, but that's the experience, is how you want to store data in a small, medium, large environment with VM data, container data, AI, machine learning workloads. So also there, HPE says, hey, our portfolio, hardware, software is rather complete, and they keep on looking, of course, but it's rather complete also to protect that data. Until just before the summer, a really great portfolio going from MSA, affordable, it's fast, but it's definitely affordable. We have hyper-converged solutions with Simplivity, with Nimble, DHCI. Hyper-convergence is also an experience of how you're going to consume compute and storage together. By the way, on Simplivity, when was it? Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had a webinar, an update session on that one. So the recording is available. And if I remember well, in 1 or 2 weeks, we also have a DHCI update session. So if you're not registered yet, well, definitely come to that session as well. A lot of exciting announcements as well on Nimble Storage DHCI. Of course, we have Nimble, HFAF, hybrid flash, all flash experience, 6 nines of availability. There are still a few models of TripR out there, the all flash models, the 9450, but that one is being now transitioned towards Primera. So now we have the Primera models delivering you tier 0, 100% availability guarantee in combination with the high-end Big Brother, the XP7 and XP8 arrays. Also a machine that exists 8th generation already, that exists a long time. 100% availability, and then also the mainframe connectivity. So XP world, specific world, but it keeps on going, those companies that require, for instance, mainframe connectivity. And so this is a really great portfolio. But now what was announced at HPE Discover, so just before the summer holidays, was that, again, the same thing like with compute, is that this is great, but we see a different need in the market with the cloud experience, with that pay as a service, pay as you go, pay per use model, with that cloud management as well. And so from now on, you will see that portfolio here in between, and it's actually not in between, because you will see there's a new product, a new platform, I must say, that is announced, which is called Aletra. Okay, and you will see that Aletra is built on, there's one model, the 6000, which has the Nimble DNA, and then the 9000, which has the Primera DNA. Okay, it's not the same product, because one, you need more performance. Well, it's the first product that is NVMe. Okay, so we're not talking about spinning media, SAS drives, 10K, 15K RPM, and then SSDs. If you want performance, you need SSDs, all flash arrays. Well, now you will see for those requirements that need the next step, even more performance, which means lower latency, faster time to access that data. Well, NVMe storage is then Aletra, but the second thing is that management and security experience. We're also there. The management is moved to that cloud-based portal like Aruba Central, but for storage, it's called DSCC, Data Services Cloud Console. And this is what I'm going to show you a little bit in this presentation. Now, before we go in there, because that's the most important that you need to know, of course, there is some other information that I want to share with you. One, rather important, is about MSA. No, there is no 7th generation MSA yet. So still today, we're talking about the 6th generation MSA, MSA 1060, 2060, and then the 2062, which is a 2060 with 2 SSDs in there, and then with that ADS license to do the tiering and the caching, and so on. So nothing new there on the MSA. I think, when was it, earlier this year, there was an MSA webinar. The recording is still available normally on techdataevents.be. And as soon as there is a 7th generation MSA, believe me, we will be the first one that will organize a webinar to update you, our customers, our HPE partners. We're gonna give you all that information. Now, there is one thing that I want to share with you, which is quite important. Probably you have heard that there are quite some supply constraints. Yeah, not only in IT, also outside IT, but a little bit of everywhere there are supply constraints. Also on IT material, also on MSA. Now, we have stock on Generation 6 MSA, but we would have liked to have more than we have available today. But HPE cannot deliver. There are some components, you heard about those chipsets that are being used also in cars and in refrigerators and so on. Everybody is using the same chipsets. So this is why this is an important message. This is supported by HPE. Know that from HPE worldwide, we get every week an update mail with the stock with MSA Gen 5. We still have MSA Generation 5. It's still available. It's still supported. Yeah. And on that one, at least we have that list. I have the list here in front of me. So every week we know how many MSAs 1050, 2050, 2052 that are on stock with Fiber Channel, with iSCSI, with direct attached SAS, which is still available, which will be supported for the upcoming years by HPE. And also there are no constraints also on the drives and the other options. So also your customer shouldn't be worried that he's not able to order drives and other options, because also their HPE has that stock available. And know that every week we take data, we receive an email with all the pieces that are available. The only thing that I can say is, for those customers who doesn't need that Ferrari, the fastest 2062 with 28 SSDs in there. Well, I still have today customers who are very happy, enough performance and availability with that 5th generation. And don't worry, you will get support for the upcoming 5 years. You will be able to order those drives. Okay, so be aware of that. If you're still interested, if you have a need for some affordable entry-level storage, well, call Steve, Wim, Christophe, Danny, Peter, me, and we will help you, and we can take a look how much stock that there is available, and that we can help you, of course, with the best prices. I can tell you, once that email, the numbers are 0, at that moment, it is generation 6 only, and then you have to wait if it's not available on stock. Of course, we keep on buying all the material that HPE can deliver. We're going to put it in our stock. But of course, we are limited by the supply constraints from HPE and behind HPE, of course, as well. So please be aware of that. Also on Simplivity, I have another webinar, organized a lot of updates there. Go take a look at that one. Also on Nimble today, not really that much changes. There's a new software update that was released, but I will cover that one next week or in 2 weeks, if I remember well, when we're going to have that update session with Nimble Storage DHCI. Yeah. Then, like I said, the most important thing that I want to share with you is, again, okay, there is a new platform, Nimble based and Primera based for the mid-range and the higher end environments. But it's more than just the hardware. It's also the software. It's also the experience. And why I think this is very important that you are aware of this is because I have seen this in the past already. All the nice and all the good things were released first on TripR, and then it came on Nimble and on EVA and on MSA. Yeah. And now I see again a lot of nice, cool things happening on that mid-range and high end. And you got to follow here. You got to understand the idea, the story behind it, because believe me, in a few years, it will be everywhere, and not only on storage. Like I said, it's happening on networking, it's happening on compute as well. Okay, so what was announced? So it happened, it was just before the summer holidays, where HPE says, yeah, we are changing the game back again on the storage side. How? Well, it's all about the data management, how we're going to manage your data. And here's the same story. It's all about the outcome of the data. I need to have access to my data all the time. It's the cloud experience that is unlocking that agility, and the AI that is helping me to giving me recommendations, to give me more insights of where is my data and is that data stored on the right location, yes or no. Okay. Together with the multiple styles of applications that we have, because like I said, probably you will be in the virtualization world. We have databases, we have ERP, which is more traditional applications, but we also have those new style, those modern applications, the machine learning, the NoSQL databases, and definitely also the containers. The new development of the new applications is all container based, which also needs storage, but it's storage in a different way. And so we need a solution that supports also the storage of that container persistent data. Now, don't worry, HPE has an answer. You need that CSI driver, the container storage interface driver. Believe me, on MSA, on Nimble, on Simplivity, on Primera, on Aletra, HPE is delivering that driver so that you can store that new style of data on the entire HPE platform. But it goes further than that, because we have data at the edge, in the International Space Station, in a windmill, in a self-driving car. We have our core data centers. We have data in the cloud as well. All those developers, they are developing the application in the cloud, but then they want to put that application in production. Well, at that moment, I see a big shift towards the core data center. And this is, for instance, where at that moment, the Admiral container platform is a fantastic platform to run your container on premises. Okay, if you're interested in that, let me know. I have it running in my home lab, by the way. But normally, if you want to get started with Docker and Kubernetes yourself, well, good luck, guys. It will take days, weeks, even months before you have an environment to run this in production. With the Esmeralda container platform, in less than a day, it's up and running, and I can run thousands of containers here in my own data center here. Fantastic platform. But for that, you need to compute, you need the storage, you need the networking. And this is, again, where HPE will be helping you. Okay? And so this is the story behind that announcement. If we take a look at the storage in the last 20 years, going from digital and then the EVA and then Tripar and so on, technically, storage didn't change. Actually, it was iSCSI or fiber channel, and we had SAS drives and SATA drives and then SSDs. But that's the typical future of going faster, faster, faster. But it became more and more complex, more and more management tools and so on. And this is where HPE said, nope, we're gonna change that view of how we manage data. We're going to change that completely with this new platform of hardware, software, services, how you're going to consume it. So HPE says now, we're going to take a look at the operations. We're going to take a look at the style of data. We're going to take a look at where we're going to store it. And we're going to take a look as well of who is using that data. Because now we have all those admins, we have developers, we have end users, we have DBAs, we have to think about the backup, about data protection as well. The bigger the company, the more people that will be involved with that consumption and management of data. Of course, the smaller the company, it's one Chinese volunteer, but even then, he needs to keep that vision, that eye on all those requirements. It becomes more and more complex with data here in the edge and in the cloud. And this is now what HPE says, well, we're going to help you with that unified data ops platform. A lot of features in there. It's all about access. It's about security, how we're going to protect my data. By the way, how we're going to deploy those systems, how we're going to manage the systems, how we're going to upgrade the systems. If you need more, you need faster, how we're going to tweak, how we're going to optimize those systems. So it's all now it's not product focused, but it's focused on the workload and the tasks that you as an operator or user needs to do to manage that environment. And so this is that data ops. By the way, it should be cloud native. Everybody likes those cloud native portals. And so this is the portal that you're going to use, maybe not today, maybe not in a month, but in the near future, I am convinced that you're going to use that data ops platform, which is that DSCC, the Data Services Cloud Console. And so all these functions that you have done and that you will be doing in your life for your small, medium, and large customers, well, all these functions will be enabled on that DSCC. I can tell you today, DSCC, that Cloud Console, is rather basic. Also for compute, by the way, today what you can do is power on and shut down the server. You can see the console and you can do firmware updates. But that is today. But you will see in a few months and in a year and in 2 years, they will be adding more and more. Why am I sure about that? Well, take a look at Aruba Central. Initially, Aruba Central was also rather basic. You could do just deploy a switch and configure some VLANs and configure an SSID. Well, today, what you can do with Aruba Central, it's insane. Yeah, with all those plugins in there, location services and so on. There are a lot of API integrations with third-party applications integrated. So all the things that you saw there are happening as well now on the compute and on the storage side. Okay, so give you some details about the architecture itself. So one, it's as a service, so it's subscription based, it's per system and per function that you want to do. Today it's for Aletra. I'm going to show you what is Aletra looking like in a minute, and probably then one day it will become available as well on the other platforms, but today it is Aletra focused. Okay, so there you go. We have the management experience, which is called DSCC, Data Services Cloud Console. And then the first platform that can be managed there is today Aletra. Now, what is Aletra? There you go. So we have DSCC, and then we have all the functions behind it. Like I said, it's a cloud platform. We can manage all the applications in there. with the connectivity to your VMware, to your other cloud and container services, because the platform supports at the end, it can run all those systems anywhere. And I told you just about those features and functions that you will be running inside the SEC. SLAs, application-aware intelligence, all the things that you can imagine will be in there, from the install to the upgrade to the expansion of all those systems. And the whole idea is we can do that with Nimble now, we can do that with Primera now. Well, this is why those two platforms are the first foundation platforms in there, because all this will be done invisible in a non-disruptive way. That's the whole idea. Right? When we talk about deployment, the first videos are, by the way, already available. If you go to the partner portal, if you go on YouTube, you will find it. What you need to do, just to give you an idea, when you want to install an Aletra, getting it out of the box, putting it in the rack is the heaviest job that you're gonna do. You power it on, you see that console, you know the serial number, yeah? You connect it to the network. At that moment, you go to the SEC in the cloud. You will see that device being auto-discovered and activated. Because in the cloud, in that portal, you have to activate that device. Data goes over, and then you can configure it. It's in a matter of minutes. The complete demo video takes 10 minutes. So from the unboxing until the moment that the system is ready, that you can create a volume and store data on it, takes less than 10 minutes. Okay? Technically, you don't even have to go on site anymore. Yeah, you will always need someone on site to do the unboxing and put in the power and the network cable, but that's it. All the other management is done remotely from within that DSCC console. So I put this slide in there just to give you an idea. These are the typical steps that you are doing. Initially, I have to ask you, when we're doing a sizing, I have to ask you about performance and capacity and encryption and security and migration and backups, and then where we're gonna deploy it. And then we're gonna ask about IP addresses and change approvals and scheduling, where we're gonna put it in the rack, when I am allowed to get into that rack, install everything. Then we have a lot of actions about provisioning storage. We start migrating things. So there's a lot of people and time involved to do all this. And then we're gonna start, of course, continuously monitoring that environment. Well, that's what we have been doing for 20 years already. And that's the whole idea now that we want to avoid with the SEC. All these steps that you just saw, we're going to eliminate this, and we're going to do this in that one portal. Give it a name, that IP address on the network, takes just a few minutes, and then you can provision your workload on there. Also, we're going to talk here about workloads. I need to deploy an SQL server, or I want to put VMware data on it. Yeah. And then he will tell you, okay, this system has enough place, has enough performance, or maybe you have to put that workload maybe on another machine because this one is full, or we cannot deliver that performance, for instance. That's the vision on the long run, of course, right? And it's in a matter of minutes that you can power on all your applications, and you can manage it from anywhere on any device. If you have a customer with one device or 100 of these devices, well, it's one portal. It's that Green Lake portal with those cloud consoles for compute, for storage, and for networking behind it. This is where it is going. Also about the upgrades, well, you don't have to go during the weekend in that noisy data center and so on to do upgrades. Well, the whole idea is now that you can do those invisible, so-called non-disruptive upgrades, but you're going to do that. You're going to click that button from here in your cozy corner at home or at the office, but definitely not in that data center anymore. So also there are a lot of benefits for you as a service provider supporting your customers, of course, right? So we have that full automation from deployment, from the configuration up to the complete life cycle of that storage box It's exactly the same with the compute, where it's going, but that's the whole idea. Because there are also APIs available so that you, with external tools that you can plug in that GreenLake cloud portal, and that you can do that, deliver that unified management, data management. But like I said also before, also it's going towards the compute for all your workloads, for all your applications. Now, the last thing to know, of course, is that the platform supports all this. And so the first platform that supports this is today Aletra. Okay, so Aletra, it is new hardware together with new software, of course. Now, what is new? Well, again, these were those requirements. It's all about the deployment. It's all about the upgrades. It's all about the management. And the first thing that is available is that intent-based provisioning. So where you're going to say, I need to deploy that application for that number of users, and the storage box will take care of all of this. So what are the two platforms today? We have Aletra 6000 and we have Aletra 9000. Yeah, now hardware-wise, they look the same, only the software at the inside is a little bit different. Again, we're looking at the workloads, business critical, mission critical. Now you're going to tell me, yeah, but what's the difference between business critical and mission critical? Well, it's all about the technical details. If you're going to take a look, Aletra 6000 is built on the DNA of a nimble array. Yeah. So that means 6 nines of availability, while the Aletra 9000 is built on the DNA of a Primera system. And that's why it's for mission critical workloads, because with that one, HPE will guarantee you 100% of availability. Yeah, and then it's up to you to define which type of application that you're going to put on there. I think personally for the Belgian market that Aletra 6000 will become very popular for those customers who are ordering Nimble today, and also the smaller Tripars. So for also the Tripar customers, the Tripar 7000, 8000 with 2 or maybe 4 controllers, you will go to Aletra 6000. And then the larger environments or the large capacities at that moment, they will go for the Aletra 9000. Okay, so like I said, the 9000 built on the DNA of Primera, and then Aletra 6000 is the big brother, the next generation of a nimble array. Watch out, all powered by DSCC, so one unified experience. So if you have a 6000 and a 9000 in your data center, it will all look the same. And then he will ask you, what kind of workload do you want to deploy? And he will choose for you which array that you need. Most important thing on the hardware side for the techies, like I said, we're not going to start with SSDs and SAS drives and SATA drives with tiering and caching and all those fancy algorithms. No, it's all NVMe. So the storage inside is NVMe based. So next generation SSD, lower latency for really the highest performance. Aletra 9000, like with Primera, it's active, 2 controllers, active multi-node, active cluster, and the highest density. Okay, because now I got questions about, yeah, but why do I need to buy an Aletra compared to, for instance, or a Nimble or a Primera? Then you will see it has the highest density. Yeah, so you will get more IOPS, but in smaller boxes. I know with the Nimble, you can go up to a few 100,000 IOPS, but then you need more disks, more SSDs, more shelves. Here you will see the same performance, but with a higher density. You need less drives in there. Why? Of course, because we have NVMe in there. Pictures, if you're going to compare with Primera, it's 2 times faster. We are in the 2 million IOPS. It's an insane number of gigabytes per second that we can deliver. Again, we have those ASICs in there. On the controllers, it's active multi-node architecture, like with Primera, which was based on Tripar finally. Well, this is all the typical evolution of the hardware, but of course, the intelligence sits in the software on top of it. So any workload that you can run on Tripar and on Primera, well, now you can run them as well on Aletra. Active, peer persistence, failover, stretched clustering, all these kind and nice features, you can expect them in there. For those who are more in the nimble world, well, we're going to take a look together then Aletra 6000. These are all the features. You will recognize this, all the VM farms, the databases, also containers, very popular workloads on Aletra 6000. It's all about the efficiency. It's all about the simplicity. Always on data services. You know, with Nimble, there is no tuning, no knobs to configure, and so on. It's built to be simple and efficient and scalable, and those 6 nines of availability. Well, all those features from a Nimble array you will find back in an Aletra 6000. Okay, at the back, 2 controllers. So this one is active standby, just like with the Nimble array, again, to guarantee all those uptimes. But again, the management here is done throughout DSCC. There is, by the way, technically a local component. You can manage it locally as well, but all the features are managed through the DSCC data services console. For a comparison about the products, remember we have an all-flash array 20, 40, 60, 80. Yeah, delivering you a certain number of IOPS in generation 5 today. Well, here you will see that now we have an Aletra 60, 10, 30, 50, 70, and 90. It's also an all-flash array, but this is with SSDs, NAND flash. This is with NVMe drive. So this is where you will see that that 6010, which is an entry-level array in Aletra 6000, will deliver much more IOPS by default compared to the AF20. Why? Of course, but because we are using NVMe drives with the NVMe protocol in the backend compared to the SAS-based and NAND flash-based AF20 in the generation 5. Okay. Besides that, this is, by the way, a Nimble slide, which is now also applicable on the Aletra as well. So all the deduplication, compression, data reduction features that are in there, well, are exactly the same in that Aletra. Like I said, it has the same DNA. The same idea from development and how it works from Nimble is in there. Also there, going to Aletra, the flat support pricing, just the same like with Nimble, no forklift upgrades. You can go from a 6010 to a 30 to a 50 to a 70 to a 90, just like with the Nimble array, the store more guarantee. It's exactly the same. The difference is the performance. It's the state of the art, the best performance of all with the lowest latencies. And we have that intelligence from InfoSight as well built in. But then as well with those data services, centralized cloud management in there as well. Okay, by the way, we have already the first orders out. If you want to have an idea about pricing and so on, well, my colleagues, we already have comparisons also with discount pricing and so on. You will see that Aletra is just a little bit more expensive. It will not be cheaper than a Nimble array and a Primera because you will get more. Of course, it's a little bit more expensive, depending on the configuration, 10, 15, 20%. But nevertheless, to give you an idea, hey, you get NVMe performance, right? And the management is subscription-based, is cloud-based. Your life will be made easier as well at the long run. Okay, so there you go. Like I said, it's all about the experience. It's about the speed, how you're going to store your data, how fast that you will get access to your data from day one up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, how long that you want to use that box. So you will see that we have that combination inside the storage world with Aletra on the hardware side, data services cloud console on the software for the management side. And we have that info side as well, which is all available as a service through GreenLake as well. And then we have those nice features in here. But now to wrap up this picture that we have from storage, yeah, finally, like I said, about the experience will be exactly the same already with networking, but will be also available as well with the compute Cloud Console as well. And so this is for me what you need to understand today from this session, besides all the newer models of hardware in compute and storage. Very important to know. If you want to know all the part numbers, don't worry, we're experts in those part numbers and to give you the best price. So keep on contacting us, but I want you to be ready for the future, because this is where it is going to. For you, your salespeople, pre-sales people, the technical people, that you are aware of where HPE is going to on the hardware, but definitely as well on the security and on the management side, to make your life easier, to get that cloud experience finally, that you're just going to say, I need something, power it on, I don't need it anymore, power it off, leave it and forget it. Okay, so that's the whole idea, and this is the story that I wanted to share with you. Okay, so if you have any more questions, more technical, you want more pictures at the inside of that Aletra or that ProLiant DL385 Gen 2 V2 Plus, whatever, call us. If you want part numbers, if you want prices, if you want configurations, if you want pre-sale support, you have an existing customer and you want a new configuration, you need a new vision of where you want to go with that customer, well, here's our phone number, here's our email address. I'm quite proud that we have that large HPE team in the front end for you, with Christophe, Wim and Steven in the back end. We have even much more people there to support you with all your questions. Okay, so there you go. We arrived at the end. Hey, perfectly on time. I'm even gonna have plenty. I have a few minutes over to answer all your questions, and otherwise I'm going to give back a few minutes of your precious time. Thank you for being with us, of course, for spending your time with us. I hope it was useful. Keep on checking Tech Data events, because like I said, when I'm going to take a look in my agenda, normally next week there is an Aruba update session, and the week after there is that DHEI update session, which is the last one for this quarter, for this month. But like I said, at this moment we are working for the upcoming moments in our agenda, which will be probably November, but definitely December and January, because we keep on following all the announcements, all the latest and greatest from HPE. And so you will be invited, you will get an email with the invitations for all the upcoming events. If there's something, maybe you say, hey Bart, I am interested in, I'm giving an example, Aruba Instant On, or I want to have an update session about, I don't know what, yeah, we do Simplivity, we do MSA, we do storage, I think we do most of it. But if there is something specifically, like, hey, containers, I see more and more needs for containers and Docker and Kubernetes, what's the HPE solution? Well, if you're the only person, I will have a direct chat with you. I'll come over, I'll come visit you, drink a cup of coffee, and I'll tell you everything about it. If I get these kind of questions, more from multiple people, well, we organize a webinar or maybe even a physical event, because I am a fan of organizing physical events again. We'll see how we're going to do it, but nevertheless, if there is something, you have my email address, you have our phone number, you can find us on social media and so on, so feel free to contact us and then we will help you. Okay, there's a question. Can we request the tech sheets for those DL series here, or should we email or call? Well, of course, you can call me or you can send me emails. Of course, I am glad to help you, but I'm going to give you another thing which is much better. Hold on. I'm going to change my screen here. By the way, I'm going to stop the recording. Also, that recording will be made available to you together with a copy of the presentation. So thank you for being here, and let's go over to your question.